Hi, and welcome to Our Bodies. I'm Eric Wareheim.
I'm Tim Heidecker, and we are excited to be here on this first episode of our new program, which delves into medical explanation for why things are the way they are.
I know I've had a lot of questions about my body and what it does and how it reacts to different things, and this is the show where you can tune in and find those answers with an official medical doctor. And I'd like to introduce now our in-house doctor, Dr. Mark Laursen.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, doctor. Your background, just so the audience knows that we just didn't pull somebody in off the street.
Okay. I'm from Iowa originally.
What are your qualifications,
I went to
background?
University of Iowa Medical School.
Okay.
And then did emergency, went into general practice, family care, and became holistically trained in addition to traditional MD work.
You didn't bring your diploma or anything, or your medical license or anything like that with you?
No.
I brought up holistic medicine once to my pep, and he said that's for freaks.
That's quack science.
Hippies. So no, I'm not saying that has anything to do with your qualifications. My father has his own set of problems that we'll get into in episode 4, gas.
We want to say before the show begins, before we get too deep, Mark Laursen, Dr. Mark Laursen, is the author of The Inside Outside Diet, and that's available on your website or?
Probably directly through the office would be best today, but internet is also, you can find it.
An odd spelling of Laursen, L-A-U-R-S-E-N, not like traditional Gary Larson from comic strips. But anyways, thanks for being here, and let's dig in.
Today's episode is BO and other body odors. We're gonna
It's funny because BO stands for body odor. So what you're saying is body odor and other body odors.
Yeah,
But we get it.
I'm just going off of what the writers wrote. So
I know. You acknowledge that it's funny though.
but if you're going to interrupt me every time I'm like about to do the title,
We don't have to use this.
I know a lot of our viewers have this problem. They forget to shower in the morning. They go to gym class, and PU, I smell like a dumpster. I smell like trash.
Stink coming from the pits.
Yeah. Let's get into that. Why is our body? Why would God give us this perfect?
He's talking about God. I don't know why.
What do you mean? Why would God?
Nature. Why would Mother Nature or evolution or?
What do you mean, Mother Nature? We're talking about bodies. Like
I'm just saying.
God created Mother Nature,
Yeah.
and then He created
Whatever.
us out of His own form.
Whatever.
Okay, well, that's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole other TV
maybe
show.
Maybe another show, another concept. When humans were created, we are these indeed perfect organisms in many ways. Why would there be a process within us that would make us emit odorous gas, bad breath?
What's happening with the odor coming out? Why do we produce odor like that?
Well, you have to talk about specifically which odor really.
Well, let's start with body odor. Just
Okay.
classic BO,
Your
pit.
stank pits.
Later we could talk about the smell coming out of your ass. We could talk about bad breath. But let's focus on pit stank.
So you need to know that your skin is covered by millions of bacteria. It's a good thing. But the skin is always breaking down, cells are going off, exudate. Basically, the bacteria is feeding off that, and it creates a smell.
Why?
Why? It's just a chemical condition.
It's a rot. It's almost like when a mouse dies, it eventually starts stinking because it's rotten. Are these bacteria just tiny mice on our body?
Well, not mice, but if you could think of it as a comparison, but it's basically very small bacteria decomposing.
Why do roses smell good to my nose? Cinnamon baking in an oven, sugar so sweet, the zest of a lemon. These are terrific scents. But yet, when it comes to BO or mice rotting, it's a terrible smell. Do we understand why our brain interprets those smells negatively?
Actually, the short answer is no. I mean, that's a kind of a God question. Perhaps we have learned to avoid methane.
Excuse me. Let's get a second opinion.
Hi, I'm Dr. Second Opinion. The human nose is capable of two kinds of smells, good smells and bad smells. For example, when your pet comes home from work and you get a whiff of his musky cologne, molecules from his fragrance send a signal to your brain of warmth and love. On the other hand, if you give a stinky friend a hug after a long workout, your nose sends a flood of poison to your brain, signaling that this is not a good smell. Long exposure to bad-smelling objects will completely disintegrate your brain.
Very interesting. Doctor, are there stages of BO? To me, this is another idea of the body saying, okay, it's coming. You better, are you saying take another shower to get rid of this before the BO hits?
Well, see, you're sweating because you're regulating your temperature. Fluids come out, bacteria's there, they decompose. So if you can just wipe them away or shower them away, but there's many things you could do. That's just one approach to lessen that smell.
Should we stay away from antiperspirant? We've heard the bad rap on that. It seems like maybe it's bad for your body over the long term.
There is some thought exactly to that. You're well ahead of the game to even be aware of that. So I recommend deodorant.
You hear that? Well ahead of the game.
So I recommend deodorant and not antiperspirant. Unless you're doing the show where you don't want to be sweating through, maybe, or some activity, then
I
you could
appreciate
use
that, but two things that I do. A, I do wear antiperspirant. I use the aluminum, and I also have a feminine hygiene product that is taped to the inside of my pit, and that's absorbing.
But I still see discoloration here. I still see
I don't-
a wetness. I can feel it
I
also
don't
with my
think the
finger.
camera will pick that up. if
Right,
you-
but I mean, you have to take my word for it, but you can feel a wetness right here. I'm running my pinky finger along, and there's moisture developing on my finger. I can feel it, okay? So despite the antiperspirant and the feminine hygiene product and the black shirt, we're still getting moisture out of there.
I guess the point is
It's not bad. I don't smell anything bad, right? But
to me, doctor, it seems like it's a case-by-case situation. My family, my wife, if I come home and she smells one hint of my rank BO, she packs up and she's heading to the in-laws for the weekend. So I do a lot of work during the day, wearing the pads, and I even do a body spray, just an over-the-counter body spray. So when I go home, she doesn't leave me again.
let's talk about some other body odors. Of course, the other big one that affects us all the time when we're talking with people is bad breath. Now, I know you're not a dentist, but where is bad breath? Why do people have it? Why is it so unpleasant sometimes to talk to people and you feel that dirt mouth coming, the air coming from their hot breath filled with the smell of hot dog water?
Well, there's two potential causes. One is something they've eaten, like a lot of garlic, and that would be a smell that could be coming up from their stomach.
Here's a common question that a lot of our viewers ask us. Two teens are going out on a date. They're going to a Mexican spot. They're having a lot of pico de gallo with jalapenos. And they know the breath is going to be very extreme. Is there a solution to that? So after the romance can be a little bit more, some people prefer just a cleaner experience.
If they were to ask me, I would say yes, don't eat the food, bring a toothbrush, or bring something to rinse out your mouth with, like anything you could bring along.
Certs or Trident?
Possibly, they would help.
I have a situation at home with my wife when we first started dating in the morning when we were aroused and we would have morning sex because I had a morning wood, and I would jump to the bathroom and make a big deal about it, like I'm brushing my good morning, I'm brushing my teeth, to try to convince her without
that bug in her ear.
Yeah, without making her uncomfortable that her breath does smell like Rangus, and it's. I do want to do open mouth kissing when I have morning sex. It's something I do, and we did that routine for days and days, and she would just lie in bed and look at me like, just fucking brush your teeth. I don't need to hear you like. And I would come in, and when I would lay down, the morning erection, it became flaccid. And she said, "Why are you getting back in bed?" And I said, "I don't know."
It sounds like another kind of issue, problem, but as you related to your breath, I guess you could not talk about it like she wanted. She might like that.
maybe the solution is other sexual positions.
What about speaking of the lower regions, the smell from the, not gas, flatulence, but the actual smell from the ass or from the scrotal region on a 90-degree day? Why does that start stanking up?
Well, you could think of it as skin against skin, so the air can't get to it, so things can basically decompose quicker in that really hot and humid environment, like anywhere else, but more intense.
I don't know what kind of financial situation you're in. I assume it's pretty good. You're doing well. You're happy.
It's okay. Yeah,
You're doing
I'm
okay.
living well.
If you were offered, let's say, $100 million, would you take big whiffs of a nude crotch on a summer's day on a daily basis for a year?
I would probably decline, but it's because non-factor for me. But
I mean, it's a hypothetical. It's not something that's on the table, of course. Eric, every day at a time of your choosing, you would enter a hotel room, and the gentleman would have spent most of the day out and about.
Yeah.
And go in there. You're presented with the crotch. We'll get 5, 10, whatever. Let's say 10 big whiffs, and that goes from January 1st all the way to December 31st, 365 days, no exceptions. And at the end of that period of time, you get $100 million.
I'm going to have to accept.
It's pretty exciting.
Doctor, a lot of our viewers write in and they have a common problem. We all have it. Is there any kind of medical solution for a quimp, a penis fart?
I have never heard of the term climp. Could you explain that?
Oh, it's pronounced quimp. It's when the penis actually forms a fart, like a toxic gas out of the tip. It makes.
I want to say that for the gas episode. It sounds like gas.
Does sound like gas.
All right, I think we've answered all the questions we have.
Doctor, I want to thank you so much for enlightening us and as well as our viewership on a very common problem. It is an uncomfortable problem, but I feel like we did get to the bottom of some of these issues about BO and other body odors. Join us next week when we will be discussing warts, zits, and boils.
Would you join us next week?
Sure, I'm happy to.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
She called me up. I took a break from work and she said, "You motherfucker, there is jizz all over the mirror. What was going on?" I told her, first of all, honey, it's not that big of a deal.
Absolutely.